Hi, everybody. I've been off for a couple of weeks, and good help is hard to find.
Okay, that
I
was
am so
funny.
bad. We've been sitting here talking for 3 minutes, and then I realized, I said, wait a minute, I don't see the ticker on there, and I forgot to hit the go live.
That was so funny.
So,
It's okay,
so,
Jim.
for,
It's
so
okay.
forget everything I said before. I'm just so glad to be back because I've been
Yes.
under the weather for the last
So
several
thankful.
weeks, and oh yeah. And for those of you that may not know, those of you who are familiar with bronchitis know what I went through. That stuff just hangs on to you and hangs on to you. It doesn't want to go away. It is
Mhm.
110% awful.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
yeah, and I do the things that that help me feel better. I was telling Tanya and Donna Guinois, our other host, I said that stuff is a little bit like being born ugly because man, it doesn't fade, it doesn't go away. You got to get up every day and you got to work on it just to feel better. You really do.
Oh
And
my
one
goodness.
of the things that makes me feel better is when I take 3 tablespoons of honey and 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and put it in a cup of hot water and let that be my hot toddy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about all you can do. I mean, there's no quick fix to it, no question about it. And anyway, enough of that junk. We want to talk today about business do's and don'ts. And I told Tanya right before the show, I want to discuss a little bit about multi-level marketing. Now, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm all for multi-level marketing, but I do not like the approach that they teach. And I'm going to share
Yeah.
some things with you and let you be the judge for yourself because there's a lot of
Yes.
people out there who are involved in multi-level marketing. It's
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful business model,
Mm-hmm.
but the approach is all wrong, in my opinion. And I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, Tanya. Did you know that?
Yeah, I think we all have,
I
Jim.
made a note of it. It was back. And you're joining us today from Starbucks.
I am. I'm
Yeah.
telling you what. I'm on the road, and so I decided. Oh, I didn't want to miss the show, and I just love the audience. I
Mhm.
love being able to just help and add value and co-host with you,
Mm.
and so I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Yeah, I appreciate that because what she didn't say is that she knew I'd need help, so she knew that's why she wanted to show
No,
up.
no. You're really too kind, but I am very thankful you're doing so much better, Jim.
Oh,
Thank goodness for that.
thank you so much.
Yeah,
It was just just
it's
one of those
rough.
things I want to get behind you because you can't sleep well and you feel miserable and the
Yeah.
thing that's really bad wears you out is all the hacking and coughing. Oh my
I
goodness!
know. I know. I know.
Wow.
So thank goodness you sound 200% better today. So
Yeah, thank
thank
you.
goodness.
Oh
Yes.
yeah, I'm so thankful for that. I want to start out today talking a little bit about multi-level marketing.
Hmm.
Now, multi-level marketing is a great way for an entrepreneur to get into business and not spend a lot of money, generally speaking,
Hmm.
not as
Hmm.
much as other businesses.
Yeah.
Now, where I disagree with the teachings of the management, about your hot list. That's your
Yep.
family, that's your friends. Your
Yeah.
warm list are people that you kind of know. The cold
Hmm.
list is anybody that look at you for 2 seconds at Walmart.
Right.
Hey, what are you doing Thursday night?
Right.
Let me back up and explain how that all got so much momentum. After World War II, people were done with war and death and all that. People wanted to come back and start living again. And that's when the suburban communities started getting built here in the United States. And there was companies like Amway who got started, and there was other multi-level marketing companies, and they did it by word of mouth. And
Hmm.
back during that time, everybody, their focus was on creating a lifestyle, having some money, being able to live the American dream.
Mm.
And back in the 50s, that we had some good times in the 50s. We didn't have near the problems we got today. I tell
Hmm.
people I was a kid in the 50s and an overly intelligent teenager in the 60s. But my point being, you could go to a Well, people in their suburban neighborhoods, they knew each other. They'd have community get-togethers, cookouts, and things like that. Nowadays, that's all changed. I mean, 3 doors down, I doubt if you even know the person's name.
It's true. That's
You
true.
might recognize their car, or you might recognize their, see them. When you see them, you throw up your hand just out of the, it's a neighbor, but you don't know anything about them. And so it got started where people would say, hey, I got a business opportunity. And okay, sure, let's take a look at it, because people was all about expansion. There was an entrepreneurial spirit. And the problem with that is that it never progressed to grow with the needs of society. Now, that old school system will always work. There's no question about that. But rest assured, it's going to be tough. And the reason why people value time more than they do money. Have you ever heard that, Tanya? People value time more than they do money?
I have heard that. I have. Yes. For
Would
sure.
you agree with that?
I think so. I think that now as things have shifted, and there's definitely positives that we can talk of with a multi-level marketing plan. There's also negatives we can address as well.
Yes.
There's the law of multiplication within the MLM system. And those things are very attractive, obviously, because you leverage, you make money off of your team, and as long as but I think the one thing that I've learned in being involved in different multi-level marketing ventures is the fact that you really want to serve your team well. You want to serve them well. And so it's not about you as a leader. And then that goes into leadership principles. It's not about you being a leader, kind of leeching off of your team and you being the big kahuna, but it's about servant leadership and you serving your team so that they can truly profit and they can truly grow, and expand. So anyways, those are a couple of things that I guess we'll get into, but I have heard that.
I love the way you said that about being a leader and focused on serving others, because that's what it's about. Because one of the things used to grind me, especially if you're in a multi-level marketing company and you're trying to get going, you don't have much money, okay? And then they want you to go to this big event. You pay a lot of money for some guru to get up there and tell you how great he is. And he's been doing it for 10 years. I mean, come on. There's nothing in it for the little person. Now, let me say this about multi-level marketing companies. I think they're great. I think they're fantastic. One of the most common things that I have found with multi-level marketing companies is that, or direct marketing, whatever you call it, same, is that they all the companies that I know of, they have really good products, really great products.
Yeah, most of them do.
And then,
and
but
the products speak for themselves most of the time.
Yes, that's where we're going to go in just a moment. I like that, because you're right on. I tell you, Tanya's pretty sharp. She's hard to, get anything by her. But you're so right.
Jim, I think you're too kind.
Oh, I tell you. But, the thing that they send you out to do is the hot list. Your family, your friends. Let me tell you right now, your family and your friends do not want to get in and go into business with you. In fact, if you're smart, you'd want other business partners other than some of your family and friends. You know what I mean? Because they will want so much more from you. And I don't mean that in a negative way. That's just human nature, because they know you. You like them. You will help them. And you will do the things that they should do for themselves, okay? I'm not picking on anybody's family or friends. I'm just saying I never call on family and friends when I do business. Because my family and friends, those are the people I want to, send me a text message, say, I hope you get feeling better. Been thinking of you, that sort of thing. Hey, when you get well, we'll go to a ball game. We'll root for the home team. We'll eat a hot dog. Okay. That's what family and friends are for. Okay. Now, Tanya already hit on it. She hit on the products. Now, I happen to belong to Melaleuca. Now, this is not a sales pitch for Melaleuca because I don't recruit anybody in my team because I don't have time. I got too much going on. But I'm going to use Melaleuca as an example because a lot of people are familiar with them. They got great products. If I wanted to attract clients, I want my products to be my sales force. Remember now, people value time more than they do money. I happen to take the power pack there for the over 50 group. But my point being, I believe in that particular product. It works for me. So therefore, I want to develop a sales funnel that I can deliver in blogs. I can deliver on posts, things that I can market in general to attract people who are like me. They're males over 50, because that's my target market. I can't talk to I can't talk to ladies over 50, but normally ladies over 50 want to talk to somebody in their age group. Okay. But I could target males because I can sing their song and educate them about the product, let them feel the benefits and experience the value of the products. And then say, hey, instead of paying retail, there is a way that you can buy this and save money and also do the same thing that I'm doing and make money. Because nobody wants to go down to Walmart recruiting for people because you run out of people. That's the big thing. And if you have clients out there who need your product and it's marketed correctly, you'll be talking to people who want to talk to you and you'll never run out of clients. How does that sound?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that, Jim. I do. I think that, when you're involved with an MLM, I think the best approach is just organic. Most of the time, when you're in your sweet spot and when you're operating in a sense of purpose and when you believe in what you're doing, that definitely attracts people. And so it's they want to know what you're doing. That your business starts to build momentum, and then they become very interested. And so then they are attracted to that because you're in your sweet spot purpose. And so, yes, word of mouth is important, of course, but appropriate marketing, like you were talking about, increasing awareness of your business, gaining trust of the people that are your audience or your target audience is important. And once you gain their trust based on relationship, not based on, doing a couple of messages or DMs in the Facebook Messenger, but truly building a real relationship with people, then they know that they can trust you. You're built a relationship, and then they're interested in what you're doing. That's what I found. It comes through real relationship.
You're exactly right. Plus, this here is going to ring a note with some folks. The hardest thing for you to duplicate in a multi-level marketing business, if some guy comes down and he's in the upper levels of achievement and he presents the plan and all that, and wow, he sounds so good and you wish you could sound that good.
Yeah.
But you can't. You can't duplicate a human's presentation. You just can't do that. But with the right funnel, the right message, you make it to where it is technical and people can duplicate that. And my best suggestion to you from the bottom of my heart, and I've seen a lot of funnels, I've seen a lot of marketing plans. I'll tell you about one of my marketing plans here after the break. But anyway, it was a real doozy. It fits right into do's and don'ts of business. But when it comes down to duplicating it, the 6-minute webinar is your all in all. Just go to 6minutewebinar.com. It is the best I've ever seen. I've never heard anyone say, well, gee, Jim, that was interesting. Thank you so much, but it's not for me. Because the most common reaction that we get from people that's been in business 20, 30, 40 years is kind of like, wow. You can go to 6-minute webinar on our Facebook page and look at what the folks say. I remember we had your friend on, Saf. Oh my
that
goodness.
was so fun. That was fun. And he absolutely did. He's utilizing the 6-minute webinar, and
how's it
it's
working
being
out for him?
quite successful.
Mm.
He's using it. It's attracting clients. It's drawing people because the message is clear. It's clear, concise. It's direct. There's no. It's not wordy. People don't get lost in the message. It's clear. And people are understanding more and more, what the message is because of its clarity. And so, he's doing really well. He's really enjoying it.
Oh, yeah. And just imagine if you're a multi-level marketer out there and you've got, if you got 3 different products that you really believe in, you use, you believe in them, they're great products, you need 3 different 6-minute webinars. And when you get those things fine-tuned, and we train people in that, we put on workshops and things like that. But once you get it, it's duplicatable. You can share it with other people to come in. Say, listen, this is what I do. You can use this here, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's a win-win-win situation. It takes all that recruiting out of it. And you'll be talking to people on the internet that want to talk to you. Wow. That never happened to me when I was out there, I mean, I'd walk into Walmart and some guy would look at me, how you doing today? Yeah. You think about buying a vacuum cleaner? Yeah, me and a little woman, we need one. Yeah, I know what you mean. Me and my wife, we bought one a couple of years ago. By the way, what are you doing Thursday night? I mean, I hated that. But that's what you're taught. Yeah. That's old school. It doesn't work. Because people are way too smart.
Well, it's definitely not as a right.
And
times have changed. People people desire relationship. I mean, and people there's a lot of scams out there as well.
Yeah.
And so people are very cautious in where they're investing their money and how they are building their business and who they are going into relationship with, in business. So it stems from a genuine care and concern for people and believing in your purpose. And people are attracted to that.
They really are, because when you ask someone what they're doing for Thursday night, you've already asked them for their most valuable commodity, their time. And you think about people's lives nowadays. It's so much different than it was 50 years ago. I mean, moms have got to go to soccer practice. They got to pick up the kids. They got to go buy this for the kids for school tomorrow. And dad's doing this. I mean, people are running. People don't even sit down anymore for supper. That used to be a family gathering time. I remember one of the things my mother used to tell me growing up. She said, son, you make sure you're home for supper time now, you hear? And I tell you, that was just the way it was back in those days. But people don't have that kind of time. And, you're asking for something that they don't want to do. And then you're demonstrating something that they really don't want to do, because here again, you're trying to change their way of thinking to your way of thinking. Now you think about that for a moment. If I try to change Tanya's way of thinking to my way of thinking, she'll say, are you crazy? But it's real hard. That's hard to get someone to see the value in something that you do. That's why we have white cars, red cars, blue cars, green cars. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead there, Tanya.
I was going to say, for a person, when you're talking to different people, you need to identify what their vision is, and what their end goal is, and why they're wanting to do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if I had someone to come to me and, I've grown business in order to give back, and typically it would be like humanitarians or even pastors or different leaders would come to
Mm-hmm.
me, the first question I would ask is, tell me about what's in your heart. Tell me about your vision. Tell me about what
Mm-hmm.
you want to accomplish, through this business. And then once they start talking about that, then we can see how the business can help them achieve their end goal and their vision.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because when you start out with that 6 minute webinar or any sales funnel, okay, and your focus is on the benefit of the product, what the product would do for a person in their hour of need, because that's what they're looking for. They're looking to see if you can solve their problem. And I don't know about your particular company or your particular situation, but you might say, I highly recommend this product. And I have a 30-day, I will personally guarantee a 30-day money back guarantee. Therefore, if you buy it and you try it for 30 days and you don't like it, I will
Yeah,
reimburse you.
that's
That
wonderful.
gives instant that gives instant credibility. Now, there's also a risk in
Hmm.
that because a lot of multi-level marketing companies don't do that. But that's something that I think is critical for any business. You got to step up to the plate. You got to say, I will give you an ironclad, no questions asked, 30-day money back guarantee. And I'll tell you something.
That's right.
I'll tell you this much. We offer
And
guarantees on everything we sell.
mhm,
And our refunds, I think you can count on one hand after all these years we've been in business because the value's there.
mhm. I think that's absolutely wonderful. And
Mm-hmm.
I think another thing that you want to avoid with an MLM, especially when you start, is if there's a lack of training or appropriate training when you first start.
Mm-hmm.
You want a leader, you want a team leader who is genuinely going to sit with you and train you and help you and is
Mm-hmm.
invested in your success, not
Mm-hmm.
just signing up another person so that they
Oh,
can get
yeah.
an extra buck in their pocket.
Mm-hmm. Thank
So
you for
that's what you
saying
want to
that.
watch out for. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you
I've
for
I've
saying
seen
that.
too many. I've seen too many leaders. I've seen too
Mm-hmm.
many people that just want to sign people up to their teams, and then
Mm-hmm.
they benefit, right, from them signing up, but yet they're not doing the adequate training. They're not taking time with these people. They're not investing in them to train them up as leaders as well. They're just interested for another paycheck, another whatever amount, that they
Mm-hmm.
get on their bonus for signing someone else up. To me,
Yeah.
that's not true leadership. True
Mm-mm.
leadership is taking the time to just invest into that person because you genuinely care for them and you want them to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And again, I got to give a plug for the 6 minute webinar because I'm so familiar with it. In the first
Hmm.
sentence, you're going to attract your ideal client. We start out with saying the 6 minute webinar, we will share with you 3 ways that you can boom, 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 whatever it is that your product does. Okay. Like 3 proven ways that you can
Hmm.
lose weight. I'll tell you another hot market to get into is pet nutrition. Oh my goodness gracious. People will spend money on their pets for they will themselves.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
two
Yes.
weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, Donna, she called me on the phone. She says, Jim, you go to the doctors. And I said, well, I can't get a doctor's appointment. She said, you go to the ER. And I mean, here I am talking about anything with my pets. Oh my goodness gracious. They got something wrong with them. I'm going to take them to the vet, get them checked over. But me, being sick and all that, nah,
Yeah.
I'm tough.
Yeah.
Tough in
Yeah.
between the ears, slow in between the ears too. But yeah, you're exactly right. I like the way you said that because if someone is just wanting you to recruit, 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 Try to
Yeah.
find somebody else in the company that can help you, because the
Yeah.
beauty in a 6-minute webinar, once you get your message fine-tuned and honed, and you can record it to YouTube, you can actually share that link on the blogs or on different places where, let's just say, if people are interested in losing weight. Okay. I have 3 proven ways to help you lose weight. Here's a 6-minute YouTube video. Somebody say, okay, I might give you 6 minutes, but your focus is all on the product and what the product can do for them. Then once
Yeah,
they
it's
become,
fantastic.
once they become convinced or it's sold on your product, then it's easier to say, let me, have a conversation with you. And the way I do it, you've seen my video, and I can help you get started. And you could also buy it for wholesale rather than retail. And for those that buy it from you, you can make a little money and build your business and go like that. That's a lot more attractive. It's a lot more easier to duplicate, because you can't duplicate some of the things some of those people have been doing for 10 years. I mean, I'm sorry. Even if you use the same exact words, the vibration of energy is not there because you have not done it. Does that ring a bell
I
with
think
anybody?
too,
Go ahead.
if we can go back to, oh, it does, absolutely. And belief system, tapping into belief system
Sure.
too is important. Knowing, when you first sign up to an MLM, what are your goals? Look from the end to the beginning. Set yourself some appropriate realistic goals. And then I would suggest getting a mentor, really someone who's been successful, very successful, or where you want to be. Obviously having them speak into your life, mentoring with you, but you also mentoring other people as you become successful. That's how you grow your team, right? So those are some suggestions, I would definitely put out there for people. But yeah, the 6-minute webinar is wonderful. It definitely brings clarity to your message, and it gets the point across. So, I mean, we've thoroughly enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed using it, for sure.
Yeah, I've used it too. And I used it for my presentation when I do a talk at the summit there we had where we met in India. And of course, I didn't start out saying during a presentation on a live summit, during this 6-minute webinar, I just simply said, during my presentation today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you 3 ways, and I was talking about getting the community involved. But there's so much more we're going to talk about for business do's and don'ts. And some of the principles we're talking about for the multi-level marketing business is applicable for any entrepreneur or solopreneur.
Yes.
Because the principles are the same. The methods and techniques may vary, but the principles are the same. If you're not speaking your ideal client, you are spinning your wheels in the mud. And we got to take a quick break here. We'll be right back right after this brief message from our good friend, Mr. Dustin Matthews.
A whole new level of clarity. That's what I received when I implemented the 6-minute webinar. Look, there's no shortage of things that you could be doing to grow your business, to grow your audience, to get your message out there. It's quite dizzying. However, when you get the perfect message in front of the right people, it has an amazing ability to get those folks into action. And so much that is out there distracts us from getting back to that message and finding that right person. With a 6-minute webinar, you can absolutely do that. Hi, my name is Dustin Matthews. I recently implemented the 6-minute webinar in my business and have seen amazing results, and I've gotten a whole new level of clarity. I highly, highly recommend you implement it in your business.
I have to smile a little bit when I think about Dustin, because I met Dustin down at Speaking Empire, and I paid a lot of money to attend one of his courses on brand response. And now we're teaching him about the 6-minute webinar, and he says, wow, this is the ultimate. So it's kind of funny how things, come around and all that. But the main thing is Dustin and I, along with Don and Bill, Don McGrath and Bill Heinrich, he is an excellent young man. He's a great friend of ours. He's one of the kind of people that you want to be associated with. Have you ever heard about DNA
Mm-hmm.
in business?
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a nurse. You're familiar with DNA. That's not what I'm talking about. Your D is your
I have.
destiny. Yeah, your D is your destiny. What is your calling in life? Your destiny. If you're in business, I don't care if
Yes.
it's multi-level marketing,
Yeah.
solopreneur, entrepreneur, author, speaker, whatever it is, what's your destiny? What's your calling in life? Where are you meant to be to serve others?
That's it. That's it. Yes.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what the N
Mm-hmm.
stands for? Your
I do not.
name. Your
I cannot
name.
remember. Oh, yep.
Your
Okay.
name.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Some people, it's kind of like my dad told me one time. He says, son, there's two kind of people in this world. Dad was a simple country boy. He says, some people bring happiness when they come in the room, and others bring happiness when they leave the room. So he
Excellent.
told me, excuse me, but he says, try to be the guy that brings happiness when you come into the room, because your name is very important.
Yes,
And you
it
want to
is.
make
Yep.
sure your name is clean. You want to make sure your name is associated with other good people, and that brings in the A. Who are you associated with?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Growing up in my family, my mother used to tell me a lot about you're known by the company you keep. Well, you know what? That didn't apply just when we were kids and teenagers. That applies to us as full-grown adults today.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I heard it said, and it's true, of your 5 closest friends, you're average of them.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, when you stop and think
Absolutely.
about that, you go like, wow, I might need some new friends.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But
Well,
birds of
you
a feather,
definitely want to take inventory of it.
yeah, because people
It's
are
true.
going to
It's true.
measure you by who you are associated with.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
on
For
a
sure.
negative way, criminals are associated with who? They're not associated with the attorneys or the
Mm-hmm.
judges or the
Mm-hmm.
people in the
Mm-hmm.
city council or anything like that. They run around with other criminals. You're
Mm-hmm.
known by the company you
Right.
keep. So want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you know what your destiny is, you know what your calling is, find it. Make
Yeah.
sure your name is
Yeah.
your honor.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
go ahead. I'm going to
That's
mute
so
the
good,
mic. I got
Jim.
to
That's so
clear my
good.
throat.
That's so good. Sure, sure. No, that's so important. Dr. Miles Monroe, he's deceased now, but he has a really good teaching on leadership. And he talks about, the eagle, and he talks about the power of the eagle and,
Mhm.
the flight and those types of things. But eagles tend to, they fly alone.
Mhm.
Not that we have to be loners in business, because we're called to help one another, serve one another, but if you want to be an eagle, you can't hang around chickens. And
Mhm.
so the bottom line is watch who you're hanging around with, watch the
Mhm.
mentality that you are entertaining. Your
Mhm.
mentality is very important. If you
Mhm.
want to be a big thinker, you can't hang around small thinkers,
Mhm.
because then they're just going to cramp your style. So you need to have people that are like-minded, that you can relate with, that there's true alignment there, like we talked about last week. If you don't understand your purpose, or if you don't understand your mission, or what you're headed to do, or what you're wanting to do, then take some
Mhm.
time out, talk about that. But in business is just creating solutions for other
Mhm.
people's problems. That's the bottom line.
Oh,
Business
yeah.
is how are we serving, and bringing solutions to the table. And so there's a right way to do those things, and there's a wrong way to do those things. And
Mhm.
so people want to deal with people who are ethical, People want to deal with people who are integral. They
Mhm.
want to know that your yes means yes, your no means no, and there's
Mhm.
no wishy-washy business in between.
Yeah.
And so when you are very direct and loving at the same time, I think that brings a lot of credibility to the table, and
Mhm.
it speaks for itself. And people honor that. People respect that when you say, yes, I can do that, or no, I cannot do that. I'm not able to,
Mhm.
and people respect that. Mhm.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I got to tell you the story about me when after I sold my business, I got online. I was doing some things, not multi-level marketing thing, but I latched on to this guy. And, oh, you talk about a good salesman. He could sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah.
And he really had a polished speech. I will give him that. The problem was he didn't have any substance.
Yep. Yep.
So the value point in that, ladies and
Right.
gentlemen,
Right. That's
is
it.
just be yourself. You don't be afraid to be imperfect, because people need to see that you're just an average person.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
you
I
you you know
I
you
love
say us and
I love
does and all.
that.
Yeah, because
I love what you just said, Jim. I love that because when I was doing some research for this program, just very quickly, for entrepreneurship, one of the things that people have really messed up with when they're starting startups, or
Mhm.
is timing on
Mhm.
knowing when to launch, because they wait too long, because they think that they have to be perfect. They think that they have to have everything in a
Oh
row
yeah.
and everything outlined. They have to be perfect, and that's just not the case. you know that's just not the case. You do have to have a good business plan, but you don't have to be perfect. We're not
Mm-mm.
perfect people. And so when people see that you're not perfect, when you allow them to see that you mess up, you
Mhm.
that's very authentic, and
Mhm.
people can relate to that. It actually
Yeah.
draws people in. It doesn't push
Oh
them
yeah.
away.
Oh yeah. That's like many times here on the show, I've talked about how the 6 minute webinar came together. It was a goof up of mine out there in Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the moral of that
It was a
story
good goof
is,
up.
yeah, the moral of that story is next time I goof up, I might get excited. But really,
That's right.
this guy was going to tell you about, he had two programs. One was $9.99, almost $1,000. Might as well say $1,000.
Hmm.
And the other one was like
Yeah.
$17.99, if I remember correctly. So I figured, well, I'll start with this base package, get my feet wet, try to figure out, what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then if it works, naturally, I'd advance up to the advanced package. So I get the base package in.
Hmm.
And I'm going to use the example of a 1,000-piece puzzle. You order a 1,000-piece puzzle, you get it in, you're all excited. Problem is, there's no picture on the cover of the box. So you don't know if you're dealing with a landscape, a cow, or what.
Oh
And the
gosh.
instructions were about as
I
basic as
know. I
this.
know. I've been there.
The instructions were find the four corner pieces. So after a couple of days, you finally figure out which one of the corner pieces, and then you get this, all the straight edges, the rectangular, and put them together. And that took a while. And then, okay, I got that done. Now what? Now just take the rest of the pieces and put them in there, fit them in there all together. Well, without a picture, that's easier said than done. So I called him
I
up
know, Jim.
and I was talking to him. This is back in 2009, I think, something like that. And I told him, I said, I'm lost. And he says, oh,
Yeah.
what you really need is my advanced package. And immediately I'm smart enough to say, well, listen, if I don't understand your basic package, I mean, I don't think I want to get into the advanced package. That's just like me going into college taking Spanish, Spanish one, and I'm lost. And it's, oh, no wonder you're lost. You need to
Right.
have Spanish too. I don't think so, And so after talking to him, I
Right.
figured
No,
that
I know.
I'm pushing a chain uphill here. Okay, I'm not making any headway here. So I said, well, I tell
Correct.
you what, I think
Correct.
is it
Correct.
okay if I return your product to you and just get a refund? Because this was in within 2 weeks. Uh, when you ordered the product, did you read the small print in the box? No. You know,
Mm, mm,
not even in bold letters, but the small print says on the right side, if it's the right side or whatever, but it says all sales, next line,
mm,
are final. I'm sorry, but all sales are final.
mm,
Well, you just got the last dollar out of
mm.
me. But see, that was
It
a
right.
that's what we tell people, look at the fine print, you know, and if someone says, well, this is what it
Right.
says, da 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 da, and a lot of salespeople just do that. Like if you're dealing with a big company like AT&T or something
Yeah.
like that,
And
you
and
kind of
I,
trust them.
I yeah,
Mhm.
I've
Go
been
ahead.
there too, Jim, myself,
Hmm.
and that's I just want to point out that's where you have to be very careful
Uh-huh.
because people can talk very smoothly, they can
Hmm.
have a good sales pitch, and and people are trained to do that. They're
Hmm.
trained to have a certain script or a certain
Yeah.
way of saying things. I'm not saying that's bad, but I am saying that if you're in an MLM and you're going to recruit, then
Hmm.
recruit with the intention of retention. Let me
Yes.
say that again. Recruit with the intention of retention. And that's
Hmm.
not a revolving door in your
Hmm.
business because people will stay where they're appreciated, where they feel a sense of belonging, where they're learning, they're personally
Hmm.
growing, and they're achieving. The way that you do that, the way that you grow a good team is to servant lead, is the way
Yeah.
that you pour into your team and you do them justice. You do
Hmm.
them justice as a leader and you
Hmm.
tap into where they're wanting to go. What is their vision? And how can I help you, Jim, achieve
Hmm.
your vision within this
Yeah.
business?
Yeah. Because
Because
when you're
everyone
dealing,
is different, everyone has a
hmm
different vision.
hmm they sure do. Everyone has
Yeah. And
different
so you
needs.
want to make sure that you're training right and make sure that your training is excellent and that you're
Hmm.
able to train people, you're able to lead people effectively in that kind of way.
Hmm. Well, a good example, like if I use a 6-minute webinar to attract men 50 and over to the Power
Mm-hmm.
Pack, it's got all the minerals and vitamins, and it won't make you young and good looking. I mean, I'm proof of that, right? But it will
Oh
help you feel
no.
better. But my point being, they may be familiar with your company and they like what they see, but their real interest is on maybe another product. So therefore, that's
Mm-hmm.
why good
Mm-hmm.
communication from you and asking them what their needs
Mm-hmm.
are. You're finding out how you can fulfill their
Right.
needs rather than just try to sell them something. And
Right.
let
That's
me,
exactly right.
yeah, let me share something else with you. Guys, I'm talking about men. Men are notorious
Mm-hmm.
saying this.
Mm-hmm.
You ask them a question, no
Mm-hmm.
problem. Every time I hear that no problem response, a big red flare goes off in my mind because most of the time, you go down the road, you're going straight fine. You come that first curve, the wheels come off the cart. I thought you
Mm-hmm.
said it'd be no problem. I mean, don't ever tell anybody no problem when they ask you a question. Answer
Mm-hmm.
that question honestly, even if, I don't know, but let me find out and I'll get back with you.
Correct. That's
That's an
exactly
honest,
right.
that's an
That's right.
honest answer. That's an honest answer
Yes.
because nobody knows it all. And
No.
it's,
Mm-mm. And it's
yeah.
good. It's good that people know you don't know it all. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's good that because I think that when as a leader, when you just admit to the fact that I don't know everything, but I can help you. I'm here for you. I have your back. I'm here to help you succeed, and
Mhm.
you genuinely prove that by your actions.
Yeah.
Then that you get the trust of your team, and your
Mhm.
team will automatically multiply and
Right.
duplicate because, your team, and I think enthusiasm has a lot to do with it as well.
Mhm.
When you're enthusiastic, when you have a passion, a true passion for what you're doing, then that
Mhm.
catches on like fire. And
Mhm.
people, when they're enthusiastic, when they believe in what they're doing, they
Yeah.
want to tell other people. And so it's a
Mhm.
it's an automatic thing for sure.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. If someone asked me a question about Melaleuca, about the Power Pack, and asked me about another product in Melaleuca, and I'd say, honestly, I don't know, but let me find out, and I'll get your answer.
Hmm.
How does that sound to you? Does that sound like do I sound like a person you could respect? Do I sound like a person that you can trust? Because even though, you really don't know me or anything like that, but if I'm up front and say, I don't know it, I mean, and that's the kind of respect and credibility you want to have. Because when you get back with them
Hmm.
and you've got the answer, and then ask them, did I answer your question? Do you have any other concerns or anything like that? Let me know. And, if I can't answer it, I'll get the answer.
Hmm.
That builds credibility.
And that's a, yep, it does. You're right, Jim. You're 100% accurate in what you're saying. And two, when people, especially team members or people that you have recruited, or even you as a recruit, you go and you talk to someone in leadership,
Mhm.
you expect to have answers, and we as leaders, we need to be sensitive to people on our team, to people in business, who, are needing answers. And we need to be expedient with those answers, and
Yes.
because when people come to you, they're looking for answers. And if you
Mhm.
don't know it, be honest, but make sure you have an adequate turnaround and let them know within the next 24 to 48 hours, I will let you know that answer. That's just being
Mhm.
respectful of their time and letting them
Mhm.
know that those needs that they have are being attended to. And that gains respect and trust as well.
Mhm. It's like a friend of mine. I get a kick out of him. He's an old country boy, and he's got zero tolerance for nonsense. And
Right?
he had a salesman come by his house, and he was talking about uh, putting in a solar system. And the guy asked him some valid questions.
Mhm.
And he says, "I don't know." He says, "Let me find out." He said, "Okay, that sounds good." And so about 2 weeks later, he hadn't heard from the guy. And his attitude was, he said, "Well, I'm the guy with the money.
Exactly.
If he wants the money, he'll get back at me." And he says, the very first words out of the guy's mouth on the phone was that, "Man, I'm so sorry." And he said, "Yeah, I kind of figured that when you didn't call me back." So be
Yeah.
careful what kind of words you use because they can be
Yeah.
used against
Oh
you.
no.
You know, you don't want to tell somebody, "Hey, I'm so sorry." I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
just
true.
you can apologize for being late,
Yeah.
but let it be a bona fide reason and not some lame
Yeah.
duck excuse. I'm dealing
Yeah.
with a salesman right now with that, and supposed to do something two
Yeah.
weeks ago. Supposed to do something, and he called me up. He's got life going on. He's got this going on. Got that going on. Okay, well, I still got my problem going on too. And
Yeah.
but anyway, I don't want to get
Absolutely.
into
Well,
any
you know,
details. Go ahead.
no, it's okay. But even this past week, I'm telling you, leadership is not easy at times. And if you want to be a true leader, let your character lead first. But you can only give what you have, so to speak.
Hmm.
But even this morning, I was speaking to some team members, and I said, listen. I said, here's the situation. And I said, I think I was the one that made the error. I owned it. And
Hmm.
they respect me for that. And you don't place the blame on someone else. You take
Yeah.
authority, you take responsibility,
Yeah.
for your mishaps, and you take responsibility for your successes as well.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
if you're like that, that and people respect that. They respect that. And
Yeah.
you make it right. You make it
Mhm.
right at the end of the day, and you don't take forever doing it. and let your yes be yes and your no be a no. And, it's straightforward. But where we get in trouble is when we're dealing with people who are, I hate to say this, but slick willies, or, do
What
you
are you
know what
trying
I
to say?
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because I've had so many people approach me in business, and well, they sell there's good salesmen out there,
Mhm.
and so I don't want to be a salesperson, but yes, we have to have an element of sales. But in
Mhm.
order to be a good leader, you need to and lead with impact. You
Mm.
need to follow through and execute with what you say. You know,
Mhm.
that's
Lead
integrity.
by,
It's
yeah, lead
important.
by example. I remember when you were talking about that,
Yeah,
brought up a
lead by
story, and I
example.
remember years ago, it was in 1982, and the NFL went on strike for 57 days, and they really goofed up the season. There was a total of 9 games played in the regular season. And during the NFL strike, the Players Association striked. They could not, the players could not communicate with the coaches, which is kind of dumb. And the coaches couldn't communicate with the players, which is kind of dumb. So Joe Theismann, who was quarterback of the Washington Redskins, he called up all his teammates and he says, "Hey, sooner or later this strike's going to be over, and when it's over, we need to be ready to play ball." So he drew up all the game plans, 7-on-7 they called it, and he called up everybody, got them out there, and they practiced and they ran the ball and threw the ball and all that because they couldn't get anything to the coaches. And Joe was the leader on field. But what Joe Theismann said, he says, one thing I learned about leadership is not getting people to follow you. Leadership is getting others to
Mhm.
believe the same principles you do and have them teach others these same principles. And I thought, wow, that's very
Correct.
well said.
That's correct.
Hmm.
Hmm. So when you're
Yeah.
a true leader, your goal is to raise up other leaders. Your
Yes.
goal is to raise up other leaders, and you're not in competition. You're in collaboration. You're not, let me repeat that. You're not in competition. You're in
Hmm.
collaboration.
Sure. And good leaders always ask questions
Mhm.
to make sure people are understanding what they're saying and understand the mission. And that's true with
Mhm.
if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to build clientele, you need to ask questions of people and make sure that you're meeting their needs. If you're not meeting their needs, that is a big time timeout. And
You're
good
smack
leaders
on it. You are on that. Yes.
and good leaders
Mhm.
are also open-minded and not afraid to
Mhm.
take what we call
That's right.
feedback. Feedback is positive. Poor leaders think it's
That's right.
criticism. And that's because they're small people
That's right.
inside.
That's exactly right.
They're small in between the ears. You know what I
That's
mean?
right. That's right. I
You know,
do.
you
And
know, you know what I tell
don't be
people?
afraid to ask for feedback.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I tell people if they don't like the way I do it, they can do it themselves.
Mhm.
No, really. But I mean, when people give you good feedback, that helps you that helps you to go and grow. It really does. It helps you to rise up into another level. It
Yes,
helps you
go and grow.
expand. Yeah. And the
Yeah.
respect level for you will also go up.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to call people out in a nice way, but
Oh
don't
yeah.
be afraid to do that. The
Hmm.
the times that I have really grown is when people have called me out on my stuff. You know, I'm just
Hmm.
being honest.
Yeah.
Hey, Tanya, what about this? Hey, Tanya, what about that? And those are the types of people that I want to deal in business with,
Oh
be
yeah.
and have on my leadership team.
Hmm.
I don't want a bunch of yes people around me.
Hmm.
I need people that are like that are going to keep me accountable and hold me to a high level, a higher standard.
Hmm.
And because we all need accountability, and
Yes.
so and not being afraid as a leader to hold other people accountable to their
Hmm.
responsibilities, to their roles, to what they were supposed to do. and but in a nice way, right? Using the whole sandwich effect,
Mm-hmm.
a positive, pointing out positives, and then addressing the situation, and then pointing out another positive. So there's
Mm-hmm.
a way of communication that is not offensive, but if there's relationship there, in your team or in your business, among your colleagues, then I think that there is that level of trust there that's been built, and you're able
Mm-hmm.
to address those issues
Mm-hmm.
and get results in a positive manner, because they know that you're coming from a good place. They know that you love them, they know that you respect them, and they know that it's not out of
Mm-hmm.
wanting to point out their faults or
Mm-hmm.
being critical of them, but it's
Mm-hmm.
wanting to see them truly succeed.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely correct. And I learned this a long time ago. I was told this and I practiced this, and I'm so glad I was told this and so wonderfully thankful that I practice it. And that is when someone is doing
Mm,
something wrong, it was called on the spot correction.
mhm,
Do that on the spot correction
mm.
privately. That's extremely critical.
Yes, yes.
And then when someone's doing a good job, brag it to the world, give them public recognition,
That's right.
because everybody on planet
That's
Earth
good.
appreciates a good job, a pat on the back.
That's good.
And nobody,
Hmm.
but nobody wants to be chewed out in front of
No.
everybody. I
Mm-mm.
learned that in third grade.
Right.
I wasn't I wasn't the chewer, I was the chewee. Oh my goodness.
I've had a couple of those too myself,
Oh
Jim.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't like it either.
Yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
tell
good
you.
when you can learn from your failures and you can learn from your
Mhm.
successes,
Sure.
and especially when you're in entrepreneurship, you're
Hmm.
wanting to make that good marketing plan.
Hmm.
You want to have a good business plan in place.
Hmm.
And if you don't know how to do something, that's okay. That's
Hmm.
why you need a good team
Yeah.
and to help collaborate, because we can't
Hmm.
do it by ourselves.
You're exactly right. There's no such thing as a self-made millionaire. They use that term a lot, but millionaires, the real successful ones, the people in the 1%, they like to associate with people who challenge them, who say, I don't think you can do that, or I don't think you're doing this right, because they appreciate that. And ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone for the day. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be
Wow,
talking
that
about some business.
flew.
Yeah, especially when you start late like me. I forgot to hit the live button. Good help's hard to find. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about business contracts, why that's important. And we're going to go over a lot of things, going to go over some things about business expenses in the house that you can take advantage of, whether you're an entrepreneur in multi-level marketing. We're going to cover a lot of things. So please join us tomorrow. Me and Tanya will be here. And thank you so much for tuning in. And on behalf of Tanya, myself, and Donna, and all the good people behind the scenes at E360 TV, we sincerely hope you have a wonderful day, evening, morning, whenever you see this. Be good to yourself, and love others. And that's what makes the world go around. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.